Good afternoon and welcome back. I am still doing catch up for my RPGaDay 2018 videos, so this is going to be what should have been Saturday, topic number 25. And the topic was to describe an RPG that has had an impact on you over the last year. And my answer for that is going to be the Star Wars role-playing game by Fantasy Flight Games, but I'm also going to kind of lump Genesis in there since the two are so similar. And although I have not yet played Genesis in person, and I'm still really new to Edge of the Empire and the Star Wars role playing games, I'm going to have them be my answer because they've really impacted the way that I approach a lot of stuff in my other RPGs. So they've had a bit of an impact on the way that I look at situations and handle my table in D&D, in Pathfinder, and in a few of the other one-shots for games like Numenera that I've had in the last year or so. The reason for this is because even though certain things don't translate directly over, like there's not two dice axes in D&D like there is in Edge of the Empire. You don't have success, failure, and advantage threat. You just have success and failure. I try to keep that in mind when it comes to skill checks and difficulty class and stuff in D&D. I try to allow the players to fall forward and affect the story even upon their failures rather than you missed or you failed next person's turn, right? And I really like that about the Star Wars game. I've ranted on it on multiple topics for my 2018 RPGaDays, and I think it's important. I think it's important that characters have the ability to fall forward. I think it's important that the storytelling baton not always sit behind the screen with the GM. I think it's important that any system that can get that over the screen and get the players telling parts of the story and affecting the narrative and not just waiting for the GM to tell them what all the NPCs are doing and what they see. Anytime that you can, pass that ball off to the players and go, here, what's going on, is a great way to approach a storytelling game. Anytime that a player can affect the narrative and not in a way that's going to break the game or break the story arc or whatever, but they can affect the narrative, especially things like the light side and dark side destiny points, being able to just be like, no, I totally have a history with this NPC. I'm going to flip a light side point and say that him and I go way back, or I'm going to flip a light side point and, this thing is now in the room. Anytime that characters can spend their resources in ways that are not just combat related, but change the story and the world that the story's taking place in, is a great way to do things. And so I try to implement stuff like that in my D&D and other systems, even if they're not hard mechanical rules to support it, through either a little bit of homebrew or just by talking with my characters ahead of time, or my player characters ahead of time, and letting them know that that's the kind of feeling that I want to go for. So I feel like the Fantasy Flight role-playing games, both the Star Wars and the system-neutral Genesis, have really affected how I go about running my games and the vibe that I go for, and that's why it's my answer.